Hello everybody, welcome back to Gyandan. Today we're going to be looking at 100 things every designer needs to know about people. Suzanne M. Wednesday. How people remember. Chapter 20. People remember only 4 items at once. You're familiar with usability, psychology, or memory research. You have probably heard the phrase the magical number 7 plus or minus 2. This refers actually to what I would call an urban legend. George A. Miller, 1956, wrote a research paper showing that people can remember from 5 to 9, 7 plus or 7 minus 2 things, and that people can process 7 plus or minus 2 pieces of information at a time. So you should put only 5 to 9 items on a menu or have 5 to 9 tabs on a screen. Have you heard that story? Well, it's not quite accurate. Why it's an urban legend? Psychologist Alan Badley questioned the 7 plus or minus 2 rule. Badley in 1994 dug up Miller's paper and discovered that it wasn't a paper describing actual research. It was a talk that Miller gave at professional meeting. And it was basically Miller thinking out loud about whether there's some kind of inherent limit to the amount of information that people can process at a time. Badley, 1986, conducted a long series of studies on human memory and information processing. Others, including Nelson Cohen, 2001, followed in his footsteps. The research shows how the magical number is 4. Using chunks to turn 4 into more. People can hold 3 to 4 things in working memory as long as they aren't distracted. And their processing the information is not interfered with. One of the interesting strategies people employ to help with fragile memories is chunking information together into groups. It's no accident that US phone numbers look like this. Instead of having to remember 10 separate numerals, a phone number has 3 chunks, with 4 or less items in each chunk. If you know the area code by heart, that is, it's stored in long-term memory, then you don't have to remember that part of the number, so you can ignore one whole chunk. Years ago, phone numbers were easier to remember because you mainly called people in your area code. So you didn't have to hold the area code in working memory. It was long-term memory, which we will get to shortly. In the good old days, you didn't even need to use the area code of the number you were calling from was the same area code as you were dialing from. Not true anymore in most places. And to make it even easier, everyone in the town had same exchange, the 569 part of the previous phone number. If you were dialing someone in your town with the same exchange, all you had to remember was the last 4 numbers. No problem, I know I'm dating myself here by telling you how it used to be back in the old days. I live now in a small town in Wisconsin, and people here still give their number to others as the last 4 digits only, even though just 4 numbers won't work anymore. The 4-item rule applies to memory retrieval too. The 4-item rule applies not only to working memory but also to long-term memory. George Mandler, 1969, showed that people should memorize information in categories and then retrieve it from memory perfectly if there were 1 to 3 items in a category. The number of items recalled dropped steadily when each category contained more than 3 items. If there were 4 to 6 items in a category, then people could remember 80% of the items. It went down from there, falling to 20% if there were 80 items in the category. Donald Broadbent, 1975, asked people to recall items in different categories. For example, the seven dwarfs, the seven colors of the rainbow, the countries of Europe, or the names of current TV shows. People remembered two, three, or four items clustered together. Even chimps can do it. Nobuyuki Kawai and Tetsuro Matsuwaza 2000 trained a chimpanzee to take memory rests similar to the ones that are given to humans. The chimpanzee, named AI, could correctly complete the memory task with 95% accuracy when she had to memorize four numbers. She was only 65% correct when there were five. Key takeaways. If you could limit the information you give to people 4 times, that would actually be a great idea. But you don't have to be that drastic. You can use more pieces of information as long as you group and chunk. Include no more than 4 items in each chunk. Be aware that people tend to use external aids, notes, lists, calendars, appointments, books, so they don't have to rely on memory. To be continued. Thank you for watching the video. Like, share, subscribe.